Welcome, you have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be Orphan First Kill. Let's get into it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Now, back in 2009, the original movie of Orphan came out, and it was one of the movies that either you saw it or you didn't, you liked it or whatever. So, what the story was, there was an orphan child who you thought was a child that was mischievous, up to no good, but you find out that she was actually, later in the movie, she wasn't a child. She was a grown woman, and she wore fake teeth to disguise her real teeth. So she could pass as a child, but what she really had was a disease that allowed her to be stuck in a child's body. But of course, mentally and strength, she was an adult woman. So it was decent enough, and it was an interesting movie. Now, with fast forward 2022, so we're looking about 13 years later, they have part two, but the part two is really the original story. So they brought back the same character that plays as the character Esther in the first film. So let's get into it. So let's just go over the cast before we get into the storyline. So we got Isabel Furman plays as Esther. Julia Stiles plays as Trisha Albright. Now, Julia Stiles, she played in that movie back in the day, Save the Last Dance. You got Hiro Kanagawaga plays Detective Donovan. Samantha Wilkes plays as Dr. Seeger. You got Matthew Finland plays as Gunnar Albright, and Rosif Sutherland plays as Alan Albright. So the movie picks up where it has Esther. She's in an Estonian psychiatric facility, and she's already causing mischief. A new doctor's coming to the facility, and she sees her. She starts to draw her. And first day the doctor's there, Esther pretty much escaped, but she end up in a room where they put the doctor in his room to protect the doctor, but Esther was already in there. And so you instantly get to see that Esther manipulates the other mental patients in the psychiatric facility, and she pretty much uses them like to go on attack. Now you got some creepy men that are in these type of facilities. So one of the men, they know what Esther is. They know Esther at this time is really 33 years old. And when the security guard comes in the room that's always watching her, she turns him on. So she instantly uses his freakiness against him and kills him and takes his badge and everything, and she exits out. And so when the next police officer came in to stop her, she sicked one of the psychiatric patients on her, and that psychiatric patient killed the cop, and then she called her off like she was a pet, and the psychiatric patient went back into their chill mode. Meanwhile, the doctor was on her way home, and she seen Esther, so she went back in the facility. And when she went back in the facility, they said, "Well, we'll find her, we'll pick her up. She's probably just gonna run off somewhere and manipulate somebody, steal some stuff, and we'll get her back." Meanwhile, what Esther did was sneak into the doctor's car. When the doctor got home, Esther was in her house and pretty much killed her. Looked in the doctor's files and looked at all these like missing kids and stuff. So she came across a missing kid, and she took the kid's name, and the kid, they were from America, so when she went out on a swing playing like a little girl, she went out pretending like she was the little girl and someone stole her and took her, kidnapped her, and put her in Russia. So now she's going back. Now her family, the Albrights, haven't seen her since she was younger. So now you would think they would know their child or do a whole bunch of checks and everything, but they didn't. So it's a move for the sake of movie purposes. They didn't do all that. So Esther's real name is Lena, and she comes over. Now the mom outright is like looking funny. You wondering why the mom's looking funny, but she going along with it. The brother's looking funny. He's going along with it. You instantly find out why. So the dad, he went into a dark world since his daughter was missing, and he was a painter. So Esther's a painter, and so he instantly bonded with her. Meanwhile, they wanted her to see the family doctor, Dr. Seeger, and they were just finding like off behaviors about her because, of course, they figured some things she should recognize or remember, but she didn't. So it's on record that she was kidnapped. So the detective, Donovan, he was like curious or whatever. So he ended up figuring out things because he took a fingerprint of Esther and it didn't match with the fingerprint he had of the real Esther. So by that time, Esther already found out he was on to her. So she showed up at his house and she killed him. And so she pretty much, he told her before he died that the mom already knew that she wasn't the real Esther. Right when he said that, Trisha showed up, shot him, killed him. And so that was the twist, that Trisha knew that Esther wasn't the real Esther, but since she playing alone, she said you pretty much gotta roll with it because the real Esther, she knew you couldn't be her because she died. The brother did something when years ago and killed her, and they pretty much threw her in a well somewhere. And where the same place they ended up throwing the cop, and pretty much told Esther, you need to play along with it. My husband is starting to turn it around since you showed back up in our life. The brother knew that this is not Esther because he know he killed his real sister. So it's some lie. You know this is, just hearing that alone right there, you know this is not going bad good for anybody. And of course, the dad is going to be the seamless victim. Long story short, everything start unfolding, and Esther has to now, Lena, for say, has to now make her plan, see what she's going to do. She was going to leave at once, but then she looked at the dad. And of course, she's really 33, so she's looking on to him more of in a lustful way. And if you've seen Orphan 1, the dad in that one, she lusted for him as well. And the wife, Trisha, could see that, and so came down for the get down where they was going to say pretty much we're going to kill her. But of course, she fought her way. She ended up killing the son, Gunner, first. The mom ended up having a duel fight. They ended up on the roof. The house was on fire. The dad was off at a meeting where he got a call from the police that Esther was missing. So he shot his way back. And they were rich, by the way. They was rich. And so on his way back, Esther and the mom was fighting. And both of them was hanging on the ledge on top of the roof of the house. He came out, and right before his wife fell off the roof, she told him that Esther is not who she say she is. She manipulated us and got us in our home. And so she fell, cracked her head. He pulled Esther up. So they're sitting at the top of the roof, and you already know you just thinking like, oh man, she gonna push him smooth off the roof. And when he grabbed her head to give her a kiss, you know, basically consoling her, her teeth fell out. And so he got to see that those teeth wasn't real, and he's like, "Wait a minute, like who are you?" At that moment, Esther pushed him off the roof, and he died. And so now she pretty much it goes from there. And of course, the movie of the original, even though this is the prequel, the original Orphan that came out in 2009. This setting of this movie is 2007. So she goes into the Orphan from there, and of course, we know what happens after that. So overall, decent film. This is a movie came out on Paramount Plus. I think movies like this that doesn't need to go to the movie theater definitely deserves to go to streaming platforms where you could go in and watch it. They were interesting enough in the first one, but not everything needs to go directly to the movie. So that was a good movie for Paramount Plus to pick up for their streaming platform. Just like Prey was a good one for Hulu. So a lot of these streaming platforms are starting to invest the money to get good quality movies on their platform and make it exclusive to them. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Out of my 4-star rating system, I give this movie a 2 out of 4 stars. That sometimes a 2 out of 4-star movies can be decent enough just for a watch. Subscribe to the channel, like I just said. Till next time.